Okay, first, I'm leaving England pretty soon, and a few people have mentioned that I should have some sort of super nerd meeting. Well, that's not exactly what they said. But anyway, next Saturday, the 10th of March, I'm going to be, at 1 p.m. I'm going to be at this place. I'm going to put a link right down here. It's a restaurant that's not too far from here. Anyway, I'm going to be there at 1 p.m. On the 10th of March. So if anyone wants to come and hang out, who's in the area, totally cool. Okay. Today's the last day to get all my spider tank armor designs in. They've already pushed the button on the basic thing, the robot, and it's the molds are being made for it. So today's the last day to finish everything else, all the cosmetic stuff. Luckily, my technical advisor woke me up really early this morning, right, Rara? So at first I had kind of a story in mind that would go along with the armor and kind of help define it. And then I got lots of feedback. Lots of feedback that said, ooh, don't do this, and don't do that. We don't want to make it too interesting because then it will over-define things, and what if we want to change things in the future? And there's all these hesitations and things, and ended up with very bland armor pieces that I didn't really think were that good. Although the Explodo armor works really, really well. So like all the mechanical stuff was working really well. It just the aesthetics weren't super amazing. Now you might ask, why do you even care, Jaimie? It's just a toy. First of all, it's not just a toy. It's an awesome toy. And it's a robot, and it's an invention, and it's a machine, and all this cool stuff, right? But even if you do think, it's just a toy, still, it's something I've deemed worth doing, and anything that's worth doing is worth going all out for. So, this is obviously one of the earlier prototypes, but this is basically what they look like right now. Like, the armor's okay, but it just kind of looks like a pair of sneakers, sort of. Not really much personality to it. So first I needed an inspirational story to give me inspiration for these armor pieces. So I started with kind of how life is right now. There's me working on my giant robot at home in my airplane hangar out in the forest where I love it. And then, you know, this all starts in normal reality. But then suddenly, wham bam, this big thing crashes on Earth. And I'm like, what? Of course I'm in the story. I don't know any other mad scientists. So there's this guy, Jaimie, and he's a mad scientist and likes to wear sandals and shorts and chains on his wrists because they give him extra exercise, and he's a member of the Adventure Builders Club, which is this symbol here, and he likes to wear goggles. And my brother is really good at drawing comics, so he'll help me out with some inspirational drawings and stuff. Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, I have a giant robot at home, and this is my airplane hangar. Hey look, that's me. I'm such a dork. And there's the Adventure Builders Club website, where you've got like all the strength and honesty and all these important things that make life excellent and turn people into superhero powered people or something like that. Anyway, that thing that crash landed right beside Jaimie's house was this thing called a hoppin' flobber, and he figures out that if you put stuff in here and you put your hands on here and think about stuff, it spits parts out that you're thinking about. So it's like a super mega manufacturing device. So of course, Jaimie takes it and starts building giant robots and things, because that's kind of what he does sometimes. Naturally, Jaimie's wondering where this thing possibly could have come from, but it turns out there's a perfectly rational explanation when you realize that 4,000 years ago, there was a group of people who were sort of like the Adventure Builders Club of today, and they moved to an island, and they developed all this fancy technology, even though it was thousands of years ago, and pretty soon they blasted off into outer space from Earth, never to be seen again. Well, not never. While they were in outer space, though, they met some aliens, and the humans tried shaking their hands, but those were not hands, and this guy said, ouch, and it sort of started a war. Luckily, the war only lasted 2 weeks, just long enough for the humans to figure out how to say, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. But in the meantime, the aliens captured one of the human spy ships, and they started messing around with it, and this guy's like, what you doing? And this guy's like, I don't know, but somehow they messed with it, and the human and the alien technology did not mix very well, and the spaceship suddenly took off and started making copies of itself, and it just kept spreading throughout the galaxy, copying itself from planet to planet, using up all the resources, spreading like a virus. And the good guys tried to stop the robots, but the robots just copied everything. the good guys did and just made more of them, and the robots became known as the Ek type, because that means copy. But then the humans got really clever, and they're like, wait a minute, what if we use special technology like EMPs, chemical inhibitors, and sloppy goo to immobilize the robots, because then the slop can make their wheels all stuck, and the EMP can knock out all their electrical stuff, and the chemical inhibitors can prevent any explosions, so their explosives don't shoot, and their bullets using explosive projectiles don't work either. And then if they copied this stuff, then they would just shoot the same stuff back, and everyone would be stuck. Nothing would happen. It would be a total stalemate. So that's what it was like for thousands of years. But then thousands of years later, suddenly, the robots have technology that works despite all this fancy technology. It's super low tech, but it walks so it doesn't get stuck by goopy stuff. And it has physical projectiles that don't need explosives to work, and there's no electronics, everything's mechanical. So the humans are like totally and they're being overrun. But as a last-ditch effort, they take one of their most advanced manufacturing devices and drop it on Earth, where the guy who invented those robots lives, hoping that he can make some new robots to help fend off those evil Ek-type robots. And yeah, so like that's what's going on here. So there's the hoppin' flobber, it's called, and there's Jaimie being all like, whoa, and he goes and finds it and starts making stuff. Then about a year later, the evil Ek-type robots show up to Earth and immobilize Earth's defenses. Because look, their guns don't shoot, they just say click now. And the airplanes don't work, they're being knocked out of the sky by all this fancy technology stuff, and it looks real bad for the humans. But then out of nowhere, the Adventure Builders Club robot guys come and show up. And of course, Jaimie's only one guy, but he has lots of robots, so he has to recruit a bunch of kids to come drive some robots to blast these guys to pieces. And you know, that takes a while. But eventually, they run the robots right off the planet. And then the Adventure Builders Club takes off in their super outer space ship to continue the fight and fend off these robots so they don't take over the whole galaxy. Oh, so at that point with the story, it becomes pretty clear what the armor should look like. Ha! Oh, and there's the sound of a 3D printer going constantly back here because it's making big robot pieces. This is the nice aliens the humans met too, by the way. They're just weird guys. Don't shake those, they're not hands. So for the good guy armor, I started with the basic base. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to sit somewhere, right? So I need a cockpit. I need to make it a good shape so bullets can bounce off and stuff. And make the edges rounded, of course. And then I need a window up in the front where I can see out, but it will be well protected with a really strong piece of stuff. I don't know what it is. Some sort of mega steel. And then I need a big window on the side with shutters. Of course it needs shutters. And how am I going to get up to the roof? Okay, I need a ladder. Yeah, definitely need a ladder to get up to the roof. Because I'll spend a lot of time hanging out up there in a hammock, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you do that if you had a big robot to drive around? And what else do I need? I need rivets holding things together. Well, or bolts, so that things can be repaired. So if this gets damaged, I can take it off and bolt a new one on. And I need storage compartments for all my junk. I don't know. Sandwiches. Where am I going to keep my sandwiches? In there. And then what else do I need? I need more rivets. And I need air vents. Definitely need air vents. I need 2 air vents for sure. And then I need more storage junk in the back. I don't know what that's for stuff. And then I'm going to need a window in the back, of course, so I can see out the butt end. And then probably just lots more rivets and pieces, so if any one of these pieces were damaged in battle, I could remove this piece and bolt a new one on and stuff. You know, hypothetically speaking, in a fantasy world. And, I mean, how would I be able to do anything without a periscope? Definitely need a periscope, you know, in case I need to see over tall stuff when I'm driving around in my big robot. And yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I need, I think. And now it does look really good gray, but gray's so boring, so I'm thinking maybe tan or, I don't know, some kind of color. Oh, and this is the side where it's got screw holes, because this is two different pieces for the mold. And that was another big consideration. Whenever designing these things, you have to keep in mind that it's coming out of a mold, and if you make it more than a 2-piece mold, it gets a lot more expensive and takes a lot longer. Anyway, I think that's totally good for the cockpit. I'd want to sit in there and look out and blast some evil robot things. And then once I had that, the leg was, you know, pretty self-explanatory. It needs lots of bolts holding stuff together and a big round thing, because that's like, you know, where the joint is, sort of. And then this piece back here is part of the actual robot. And then for the Explodo armor, I was thinking something like that, kind of. Uh-oh, am I zooming in accidentally? Of course I'm zooming in accidentally. So that's like your extra super shield to protect your guy when you get shot here. This flies off, of course. But I just wanted to make it look like a big, kind of, sort of like a riot shield, but more industrial, kind of, with like giant bolts holding stuff together. Anyway, that's the Explodo armor. This is what I have so far, and I have today to mess with it and get it really good. Then the Ek-type go around copying everything, so of course they have air vents too, but then they have all this organic shaped stuff that maybe they copied from some bugs or weird alien mutants somewhere, but then also like spiky kinds of things and ridges and like metal parts, so you know, it's kind of a combination of like different sorts of things. And they should definitely be blood red. You know, because that makes it scarier, kind of. And then their leg armor's kind of got like shell sort of parts and an extra big part down here, because that's the part that, you know, gets roughed up a lot because it steps on the ground. And then stuff. I don't know, there's stuff here. And then it's got to have Explodo armor, of course, too. And that's kind of like that. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it's weird alien mutant robot Explodo armor that flies off when you shoot it. And the good guys are all bolted together so it's easier to repair, but the bad guys, they're just kind of cold-hearted computerized program that's running, so they don't really care. They think of their guys as expendable, so when they get damaged they just say, forget it, let's make a new one. But the humans, they, you know, when they drive around theirs, they don't want it to get totally destroyed, so they fix it up as they go. Okay, so I have like 12 hours to do any last touch-ups I want to do, and then I have to do a few like cosmetic things on the blasters, of course. Oh, okay, I better go. Oh, I do still have one piece of mechanical stuff left, and it's the piece that goes up here that slots into this little switch thing that hits the kill switch on the inside. And there will be different targets you can put in here. Big ones if you're playing against someone who's not very good, and then you can put little ones in if you're playing against someone who has really good aim. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That didn't actually just take half a second to do. It actually took significantly longer than that. But anyway. Yeah, it fits right in. That looks pretty good for a big target. Should probably be a different color though. I think that's a pretty good small target. Big target, small target. Big target, small target.